shout out to everybody who's been tuning in and supporting. Lately we've been learning to meditate and study like a library. wild times out right now. You know, we could use your help with any help you can give at any times. Very wild. You can like, subscribe, share, put in your name, phone number, and email. Check out my content below. A lot of the content is on YouTube Shorts. And then we have a lot of content on the videos. You know, we're going to continue to learn and study as well. A lot of craziness in the city, but we don't let that determine our mood. So a lot of rain, a lot of weather, a lot of people's behavior, but we never let that determine our mood. What does determine our mood is our actions and how we also know how to stay motivated. We can't let other people's behavior affect our mood. So a lot of people will try to place their behavior on you. We cannot let that determine our mood, even though we want to continue to, really shine. We want to continue to really shine. But then once we shine, we just take a step back. And then we get to learn who is who. That's the beautiful thing. That's the beautiful thing. The beautiful thing is getting to put that work in and then stepping back. That's when you get into that zone. That's when then you can see who is who. A lot of individuals went missing in the city. Not Miami girls, they actually went missing in the city. That's when you can actually see who is who. When you're focused, when you're taking care of the family, when you're trying to stay in that zone, take care of your mom, that's when you can really see who is who. You can see who tries to involve themselves, who tries to remove themselves. You can see how people talk, how people's energy affects themselves and how they try to place it on you. You can really get to see who is who. We like clarity, right? When you say see me and then they don't show up, that's real life clarity. When you say let's talk and then once they start using audio and video, then that's when you know real life clarity. So when, you mind your own business and people try to then, right? Just because you shop at Walmart doesn't then mean you gotta go to Walmart's home. Just because you went to Amazon doesn't mean you gotta go to Jeff Bezos' house, right? Just because you know who made this stove Hot Point doesn't mean you gotta go to Kellogg's house. So that's an interesting topic of the conversation unless they shook your hand and invited you. They shook your hand, invited you, phone number, name, email, text message, telephone call. Then, that's loyalty and respect. But one problem right now is our means of telecommunications on one of the platforms has been compromised. That was one of our biggest platforms that we had. It was 21, 22K. Then it slowly started decreasing. And they were paying us very well. And then it got compromised. So not only did our telecommunications get compromised while we were studying, then they used interrogation tactics on my mom. Why did they use interrogation tactics on my mom and myself? Why did they use interrogation tactics at the place of my living, even now? While one of my telecommunications is compromised. How is that a good idea to label somebody with discrimination instead of actually funding and venture capital? How is taking away from one person more beneficial than actually creating win-win, which is abundance for two people? And just because somebody knows how to say that and discuss that or just live in that mindset doesn't then mean you have to go to Walmart's house. Just because a white guy in the back looked like KFC doesn't mean then you gotta go to his house either. It's all his chickens back there. He looked the same. You, I don't know what you're doing at his house besides eating mashed potatoes, gravy, probably corn on the cobs, probably salad, probably stuffing, probably the whole pilgrimage on the table. That's a whole different story. But just because KFC does that doesn't mean you gotta go run to his house. That's at the store. So a lot of individuals like to bug your property and then they like to try to, you know, do a lot of interferences against you. Why is this? We don't know why this is. You could shake hands with people. You could know people from young days. But why do they not actually mind their own business? Why do people's own mom and sister try to bug your house because you don't go on a walk with them to then interfere and interrogate me? Why do people with cameras in the community do that to people who are in their own houses, in their own apartments and place of living? I don't even have a house yet. That's that's the issue with me learning to correct my grammar too, right? Because with the amount of work that I put in, I will be able to, not have to correct my grammar when I say that when I'm in my own place of living, you shouldn't use video and audio and wiretapping and interrogation and triangulation on my own place of living, especially when I'm taking care of somebody. That's what you shouldn't do, right? You shouldn't label people and say that that's your brother and then that they slept with you when that's your own family you slept with. That would be weird, right? To do that in a community against somebody is have some girl go to everybody say that that's your brother and he slept with you just so then they can view your own house and place of living and then see you taking care of your mom who's a single guy. So if a single guy is just taking care of his mom, why would they have to use wiretapping, interrogation, and different forms of technologies to stop somebody from learning at their full potential or having me make as much money as I possibly could? Why would they hold my finances back versus use the paperwork to help my finances that they already owe me to come back to my wallet where I actually could use it, which is in my bank account, my banking system? Why would my banking system be off when I have to calculate things and they're the one with an automated ledger that even doesn't work on the weekends sometimes they say, but then you do the ledger and accounting and then it's not automated because you gotta do it correctly. So why are we seeing a lot of this happen in the community when all I'm doing is minding my own business and taking care? We trying to be Maui chilling. We trying to be having fun. We trying to be doing it big time. Why would these issues be arising? Why would the neighbors below me wiretap my house so they can listen to me when I sleep and block the amount of money I make? Why would impersonators start learning how people breathe, their breathe patterns that work in hospice, try to go to single men and then watch them sleep? Why would they do that to neighbors that are minding my own business? So why would they be trying to watch a single guy sleep in his own restroom or his own bedroom? Use his own restroom or sleep in his own bedroom? Why would they be using wiretapping and technology forms to interfere with this? Doesn't make sense. So, all my real ones, name, phone number, email, we gotta stay connected.